Etapu, assalamu alaikum, namaste, haru nefer. This is Qesankh Keperu with another video for you. In this video, I want to talk about the truth about Kevin Samuels. But before I do that, I want you to hit the like button on this video. This is your first time to my channel. Hit the subscribe button to get notifications on when I go live and when I upload recorded videos. If you're interested in knowing more about my spiritual teachings, you can scroll down below, click on any one of the links, and download a free ebook. Start reading today. However, if you want to take your esoteric knowledge to the next level, you can become a Patreon supporter. You can do so for as little as $1, $5, or $20 per month. You'll get exclusive access to my instructional videos. And these videos will detail how to connect with the ancestors, how to summon the spirit for your protection, how to work with magical amulets, how to do a ritual, how to meditate properly, how to do proper breathing exercises, and self-hypnosis. Lastly, if you are an Asir level supporter, you'll get all your oracle readings for free. So become a Patreon supporter today. Last but not least, please share this video with family and friends so we can get the revolution started. So, Hetapu, how is everybody today? I'm doing well. It's been a very busy week for me, and still working on a project. I'm the PM on the project manager, senior project manager, and it's going really, really well. A bit of a challenge, but it's a challenge in a good way. You know what I mean? Because if you go through life and you don't push yourself to the next level, and you don't adapt and change, you'll reach a plateau, you'll get bored, and then not good after that. So I want to talk about Kevin Samuels. So to give you some background information, Kevin Samuels was a style consultant who worked for corporate America, and he was advising people on fashion, style. I did like his videos on cologne, really good stuff there. So he's an image consultant. He was an image consultant. And so I talked to Kevin several years ago, specifically because I was doing a seminar. I wanted him to come to the seminar to talk about image and style. So he and I were in talks to do that, but ended up not following through with the seminar. So that actually never happened. And then from there, I was thinking about using Kevin as an image consultant because when I was in Vegas, or I'm in Vegas currently, I wanted to have a certain look or style, that was unique to me. Now, I want to explain something about this whole Kevin Samuels thing, because now he has transitioned to giving advice to modern women, specifically women to get high-value men. And the way he defines high-value men, I'm not going to speak for him. From what I interpret is men making over $100,000 a year. I had been making that for about 6 years. And there are also some other things that go along with that. So he is giving advice to modern women about high-value men and how to find them and how to date them, even though see, Kevin comes out of what we call the manosphere. This is a sector. See, years ago, there was a rise of what we call MGTOW, men going their own way, because these men were getting sick of how men were being treated in relationships and by the court system and by divorce. So they had come up with a strategy of just basically being on your purpose, forgetting about women, don't worry about them, just do your thing. And prior to that, Black men were already kind of on that, because of you have white supremacy that has been enabling and propping up Black women at the detriment of Black men. So Black men had real gripes, but their voices weren't heard because white supremacists were supporting the Black feminists and things of that nature. So along came things like the manosphere, and some of the people who are key in that is O'Shea Duke Jackson, Sean James, a lot of other people, BGS Itmore. But it wasn't until Kevin Samuels transitioned from image consultant to advising these women on how to get a high value men, the things start to blow up. And in my opinion, what Kevin was doing was he was dangling the carrot on the stick. He was saying, here's how you get a high value man, but you must lose weight. Oh, you must drop the attitude. You know what I mean? Oh, you must stop wearing the weave and dyeing your hair blonde. You know, oh, you must respect men, black men. So here he was talking about the high value man concept, but also, and I disagreed with the whole high value man thing, but when I began to realize it was a Trojan horse and that he was giving this really good advice to these women about, you know, stop with the white woman feminism, you know, stop with the baby mama stuff, having babies out of wedlock, value marriage, stop sleeping around, go to the gym. I began to realize that some of that advice was really on point and really good. And it was actually helping the black community and specifically helping black women because they were calling in. And when he would give the advice, you would discover a lot of things, you know, a lot of things about these women. You know, you discover that they had these weird self-images. They didn't value men, value relationships. Extreme form of feminism was very prevalent in their mindsets. You know what I mean? So Kevin is effective in really going in there and trying to fix some things and mend fences. But here's what I want to really get into and talk about. I'm not going to make this a long video. It's actually going to be a very, very short video. Whether you agree or disagree with Kevin is not the point. I, don't agree with him on everything, of course, but you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You see, in the black community, if you have a disagreement with someone, they go to war. And I've never seen such extremism. I'm like, listen, I remember a friend of mine handing me Mein Kampf, and he says, if you want to understand white supremacy, read Hitler's Mein Kampf. And people were shocked to see me reading that. You don't, because you disagree with somebody is on certain points, is no reason to disagree with them on everything in general, and to excommunicate yourself from them. But that extremism exists in the black community, and I don't understand why. Kevin Samuel has very good, valid points. Now there are women who are who have been supported by white supremacy, who have a stake in crushing his voice and crushing the voice of black men who have been speaking for years, and their voices have been silenced by the white supremacist structure. You see, the idea is if you can elevate the man and elevate the woman and emasculate the man, you can set the stage for a takeover. And black men have been under attack. Goldman Sachs funneling money to black women is just an attempt to economically emasculate black men. BLM not giving the money that they've collected to the black men who have been the victims of police shootings is an attempt to undermine black men. So the white supremacist structure has an interest in crushing the voice of black men. And in any society that we see, the men, or if you want to call it the patriarch, who are the builders of that society, usually have a say in the type of woman that they marry, procreate with, and things of that nature. And white supremacists have been trying to circumvent that, have been using all types of tactics to get black women to hate black men, to be argumentative, to be unattractive, fanning the flames of this fire, all the while crushing the voice of black men who are saying, listen, I work, I make all of this money. And these women that I'm trying to talk with are disagreeable, argumentative. Sometimes they're very hostile towards me because I'm Black. And that is because they've adopted an extreme form of feminism, which has its roots in white supremacy. And if you study feminism, it goes back all the way toward the Third Reich. So let's understand this. Now, here's my point. When I came to Vegas and I was, trying to work with Kevin Samuels as an image consultant, my goal was, I'm going to have some fun, just go to some of these clubs, enjoy myself. So because of a little bit of notoriety, the club promoters would allow me to go into the club. So I could skip the line, I can go into the club. Now, at that time, I was hanging with some very wealthy people. And one of them couldn't accept the fact that here I was getting into the clubs. And because he was a millionaire in tech, he couldn't get in. So he got all jealous and upset, discombobulated. And I said, dude, you're a multimillionaire. What are you worried about? Pay the $50 to get to the club. Just pay the money. But it was more about him being jealous at the fact that they would allow me in the club. I could just walk in, where he would have to wait on the line, even though he had to pay the $50. He would have to wait on the line, and he couldn't accept that. So here's what I have noticed, and the reason why I bring this point up. It has saddened me. It has greatly saddened me to see how Black people have reacted to Kevin Samuels. I have seen other individuals' YouTube channels, and I'm not going to name them, who were in the manosphere, who weren't part of the manosphere, but part of the Black feminist movement and things of that nature, all come out of the woodwork now, jealous of Kevin Samuel, many of them claiming that he's stealing their sound bites or their ideology. And I'm watching this transpire in shock and awe. Many people who were in the manosphere working with Kevin Samuels are now trying to allude to the fact that he may be gay, metrosexual, and all this stuff. I'm talking people, men, Black men in the manosphere saying these things about him. Now, I'm not a close friend of Kevin Samuels, by no means, but I know jealousy when I see it, especially in the Black community. So what Kevin Samuel has done is he has found his niche. And I'm going to say this honestly about him. I have watched his channel extensively. Like I said, don't agree with everything. But he uses facts, logic, and statistics in a way where I say he has found his niche, and this guy is a guru of his industry. He is a guru of his industry. And I don't think anyone can do what he's doing, which is why he's close to 1 million subscribers on YouTube. And he has blown up. But I've never witnessed before to this degree about how all of these channels in the manosphere, in the Black female sector, claiming that he's stealing their stuff. And this is just jealousy. The crabs in the barrel mentality. Instead of people being happy for Kevin Samuels saying, listen, I'm glad that his message is getting out there. I'm glad that he's able to speak truth to power. People are so jealous saying, well, I was talking about that before Kevin. Kevin is stealing my thunder. Is this the type of people we are? To pull one another down? If you don't like Kevin, watch something else. But don't go making videos about how he's stealing your talking points. or how he's gay, or how he was a cheerleader. Because I think he's doing something important. He's giving a voice to black men that has been suppressed by the white supremacist movement. Because in this age of Me Too and the attacks on black men, like from people like Oprah Winfrey, and we need a voice like that from the manosphere. And now they're trying to say, well, he has points, but I don't like the way he's saying it. Well, black men didn't like the way you would say all black men are in jail or gay, or calling black men who are educated lames or nerds or corny. I remember one girl said, "You remind me of Carlton." I said, "Get out of my face." Because their thought process is so to the extreme, either you're a cool thug or you're a square Carlton. Like I said, I don't agree with his ideology around the high value man, but I agree with so many things that he's saying to help these women get in shape, go to a gym, stop wearing weaves, stop dyeing your hair blonde, stop having an attitude when a man says hi, smile, be friendly. Don't be argumentative. Don't have a sense of entitlement. Stop shooting for more than what you can get. There's nothing wrong with those messages. There's nothing wrong with that. And there needed to be a national health crisis because 80% of black women are overweight, 80% of that are obese. And the reason why, if that was with white women, that would be the topic of CNN and every major news outlet, that we need to have better diets. But the fact of the matter, black women are under pressure, causing them to overeat, not work out. And no one wants to address it. Rather, we want to enable it by calling them queens. Queens, oh, come on, queen. No, I'm sorry. Lizzie is obese. Lizzie is not the poster child of what a woman should look like. Well, what do you want the woman to be, like a toothpick? Now, why do you go to the extreme? No one's saying that you have to go from one extreme to the other. There is a middle point. There's nothing wrong with being fit and fabulous. But when black men bring this up, their voices are stifled because the white supremacist structure wants black women to implode. It wants them to fall. But first, it wants them to destroy black men. And to do that, they're giving them financing, a platform to talk about things. Do you know on YouTube, and especially Facebook, when black men speak out about these issues, they're put in Facebook jail, their YouTube channels are taken down. But when the black the black female feminists come along and say abort black male babies, YouTube doesn't do anything. Facebook doesn't do anything. Let me say that again. When the black female sector, the feminist female sector, the extreme feminist female sector comes along and says abort black male babies, YouTube and Facebook don't take direct action. Wonder why that is. But when the manosphere comes together collectively to talk about issues, the first thing is these black women come and get together to flag these channels for just speaking truth about we as a people have to get our act together so they can suppress the voice of black men. Black women have to realize that there are agents within your sector. There are agents within your sector that are being paid off, that are being paid and are employed by white supremacists. And the same thing goes for black men. There are what we call the simps who will go out there and call, the women God and queens, and they are agents. If your friend is really your friend, they'll tell you the positive things about you and the negative things about you because they want to see you be successful. And no one can be successful who believes they don't have any flaws, who believe they have nothing to work on. I work every day as a priest to be better. I take an audit of my flaws. But the minute you try to point out black women's flaws on social media, the agents jump in and try to suppress the voice because they want to destroy the black family. So I'm not saying you have to support Kevin, but the jealousy and the envy has to stop. We as a people have been dealing with that for so long. I thought we were past this. I actually thought we were past this. When you are a filmmaker and you make a movie, you must realize that all the stories that could be done are already done. You want to do a movie about a battle in outer space, Star Wars did that. You want to do a movie about exploring outer space, 2001 Star Trek did that. You want to do a movie about a giant ape or a burning building, it's already been done. So stop saying that someone's stealing or plagiarizing your talking points because no one's doing that. That is just you being jealous and envious of someone who has become successful. Instead of looking at the collective and saying, hey, he may be doing something that's really going to help us all out. You're more concerned about why does he have almost 1 million views and I don't? Pettiness. Pettiness. There's a guy I know, he and I spoke frequently. He's into the spiritual. He started his channel a little bit after mine. He lives here in Vegas. His channel now has over 1.5 million subscribers. And I'm going to tell you that he doesn't know anything about spirituality. He just reads and regurgitates information. But I never talk about him. I never badmouth him. I'm just like, if he delivers a message that people can receive and they're happy to hear it coming from him, more power to him. I'm not going to say he doesn't know spirituality, that he's reading books, or start doing videos on him saying that he's stolen my talking points, that him and I talked and he took stuff from me that I gave him advice on. I'm not going to do that. That's ridiculous. And that's what all these people are doing about Kevin. Going on rants. And then there are the individuals who don't really have a channel, who are just putting Kevin Samuel's name in the title and critiquing his videos so they can get views and subscribers. They're just trying to ride on his coattails. That's all they're doing. And it's so many of them doing it too. If you look at the algorithm, YouTube is pumping out. Once you do one search on the Kevin Samuels video, it starts to send you a bunch of other stuff by people who don't know Kevin, don't understand his message, but are just kind of critiquing him because they know it'll bring them views. Because they can't get views on their own. So they have to jump on the Kevin Samuels bandwagon. And I know this is a hard pill to swallow, but we have got to deal with the jealousy and envy that we have within us. That we can't sit here and celebrate the success of someone without getting all stressed out and upset about our own station in life. You see, you have a destiny, you have a purpose. And the goddess Sekert governs that. And part of what the goddess Sekert governs is obstructions and limitations. So if your channel is not successful, that is not what maybe you should be doing. But see, Black people care more about social currency and symbolism more than true progress. I'll say it again. Black people care more about social currency and symbolism more than true progress. If I tell you that you can go into tech and make lots of money, or you can do a YouTube channel and be a host, people will do the YouTube thing because it gives them a certain amount of notoriety, puts them in the limelight. If I say you can be the director or the producer, most people want to be the director in the film because they know they get more shine. They don't want to be the producer in the background. Even though the producer may get paid more in many instances. I remember going to the, I forgot the name of it. It was a Black convention in Jacob Javits Center. Black business convention. And as I went through it, I stopped going. I went 2 years in a row and stopped going because every person there was doing the same thing, a t-shirt company. And we didn't know how to do any other business but a t-shirt company. Or coming out with a fashion line, coming out with sneakers. We don't know how to get away from our egos. It dictates our actions. I did a video the other day criticizing Louis Farrakhan for having these million-man marches that accomplish absolutely nothing but look good. Yet no one questions the fact that you marched to do nothing. There was no voter registration. There was no collection of money to start a business or buy land or buy a factory to produce food. Nothing. You just look good marching on Washington, but accomplished nothing. And that's what we're dealing with. All of these people attacking Kevin Samuels are doing so because they want the spotlight on them and not for the greater cause of the movement. Our Black women are out of pocket. They are screwed up. Our Black men are screwed up, mentally ill. We have got to fix our people. Stop worrying about who's got the more shine, who's stealing, who's plagiarizing, and say, if the messenger has a good message that's going to heal the people, then let us support him in this effort. This is the same thing that did in Malcolm X, the jealousy, the envy. And we have not learned from that. If we don't understand our history, we're doomed to repeat it. If you feel some type of way about Kevin Samuels, fine. YouTube has many more videos. Watch some other videos. Don't worry about him. If you feel some type of way about him getting shine and all the subscribers and you're not getting subscribers, then do something else. Your forte may not be YouTube. You may be the one who comes along and invents hovercrafts. Who knows? You may be the next hit director or actor. You may be the one that cures cancer. But if the gods have blessed Kevin, and it's not about his oratory skills, because he's using logic, facts, statistics to put the issue under a microscope, then let's support that. If you bring down someone like that who has a message that is helping to heal and destroy the gender war, then you are part of the problem. Then we are self-destructive, and we're going to have to admit that. If we bring down someone like him, we talk bad about him, we try to bring him down, then we're going to have to just sit and say, you know what? We will never be free because we sabotage our own efforts at liberation and freedom. I've said this a while ago that we have a self-destruct button. That when I was working in the Nation of Islam, when I was captain of the South Bronx Division, I was constantly having to watch my back for somebody wanting to take my position, saying negative things, trying to undermine my orders, questioning everything I do. When I was in priesthood, I saw how they treated Ra'u Nefa Amen, the king. And I said, they disrespect this man. Why do they disrespect him? Why do they question him? Why do they challenge him? Because he's black. If he was white, no one would question him. I said, you may not agree with everything he does, but he is the king. And let's rally behind him because he is sincere in what he's doing. He has our best interest at heart. But people get in their feelings, their attitudes come out. As a project manager, I have teams that I work with. And I saw very clearly that black women, white men felt some type of way about taking orders from me. Many times I had to go to HR and get them fired because they would not listen to me because I was a black man with a position of power, and it bothered them. I remember one time I fired this young woman. Next day she shows up for work. I'm like, are you serious? Are you serious? I had to call the police and say, listen, you're going to be arrested for trespassing. So be the change. So, okay, let me ask you this question. You say, I disagree. He ain't bringing nobody together. His comment section is full of men who have issues with women, and all he's doing is healing them. Really? Is that what you think? So, okay, I'm going to ask you a question. Show me an oracle reading that says exactly what you're saying. Show me an oracle reading which is objective that says that. Otherwise, you're just talking through your feelings. Show me the oracle reading that validates what you're saying. Because I've done the oracle reading. Many of the people who have come along and tried to do good by us have been thwarted by their own inner circles. Many of the scholars that I have studied with throughout the years, Dr. Ben, Dr. John Clark, Dr. Smalls, and the list goes on, who have brought good knowledge to the people and published great books, many of whom can't afford their rent, many of whom have died penniless. Dr. Ben died broke. We don't support the people who come out and who have our best interests at heart. Malcolm X, at the time of his death, was broke, even though he started businesses for the Nation of Islam, even though he increased their membership. Marcus Garvey started the Black Star Line. And the ships that he purchased from another black man were wrecks, but the other black man was okay with selling him something that was subpar, so he could take a big commission off of it. BLM, the women in BLM have betrayed the black race. Don't you see? Sold out and have $1 million houses on their own now. Louis Farrakhan has betrayed the black race. Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton. Do we see a theme here? Do you see the theme here? I'm not asking you to support Kevin Samuels, but I'm saying that we have to take a look at the problem that we have. This cancer within us that follows us from movement to movement. When I first got on social media, one of the things I pointed out to a friend of mine, I said, if you look at all of the black YouTube channels, black YouTube, they're all fighting each other. They're all fighting each other. Okshay Du Jackson, who one of the pioneers of the manosphere, tried to get all these brothers together, and now they've all splintered off because they're all fighting each other. I got on the panel to talk about an issue, and a brother got upset and disagreed with me, and the first thing that came out of his mouth is he called me gay. I'm like, really? Really? Is that your retort? Really? all up in our emotions, not understanding how to be mature, how to be Haru, a leader, a warrior, to do the thing that's best for our people. When I was in the Nation of Islam, when I was doing the lecture circuit, someone asked me, they said, brother, you're a good speaker. Are you, and this is a time when Khalid Muhammad too was touring. He says, are you looking to lead our people? I said, hell no. Hell no. Because they will turn their backs on me. They will backstab me. They will become jealous and envious of me. And any Black leader is going to face that, where he or she is not going to get the support of the people, that he or she will become a target. So one has to ask, why should I even try? This is why I'm an advocate of spirituality first, because I believe the only way that we can make progress is first and foremost transcending the animal spirit within us, the jealousy, the envy, the ego, to reach a higher level of understanding, to have truly what they call the Christ consciousness. Because if we don't do that first and foremost, nothing else is going to work. I had a friend who went to a Nation of Islam rally. He said he sat there as they were praying and someone stole his wallet while they were praying. I said, because you must understand there's nothing in that religion that requires that you ascend to a higher level of consciousness. It's all about the external acceptance of God, but that doesn't mean that it actually changes the man or woman within you. We have to first change ourselves within, and that vibrational frequency will permeate outward and then affect everyone. The 100 monkey principle. The mere fact that Kevin's talking and saying some of the truths that he's saying, his vibrational frequency will affect people. It's going to affect people, whether you listen to it or not. It's the butterfly effect. It's going to affect our people, hopefully for the positive. I have seen Kevin, I have seen the man say some powerful truths. I do not agree with him when it comes to the high value thing, but I know that a lot of what he's saying is truth. Just because I don't agree with him on a high value thing does not discount his entire message. I agree on some of the things that Farrakhan says. You see, the right brain seeks to find things that are common. It's congregative in nature, where the left brain is segregative in nature. When you operate out of the left brain, all you think about is those things that can separate us. So you get into a pessimistic, negative train of thought. That's the left brain. The African right brain, which is integrative in nature, always seeks synthesis. This is why when the slave master came And he told the slaves they could not practice, or rather, he told the slaves that they had to practice Christianity. When he came back the next day, he saw the statue of a goon next to the statue of Jesus and Mary. We were practicing synthesis. But in his mind, he was thinking it was one or the other. And he was shocked to see how we were able to have both working in harmony. This is why we are very moral in our approach toward the world. We're very kind and loving of a people because we're constantly seeking to work with people, cooperate, synthesize, while they are looking to separate, to rid the planet of certain groups. That's how they think. That's how the connections are firing off. But we can help them by being an example of spirituality. But to do that, we have to transcend our ego. We have to transcend Set. Do you understand? Set is within us. When Haru was trying to battle Set, that was a grand metaphor for battling the animal spirit within you, the ego within you. Find a way and look and say, Kevin, okay, I don't agree with everything his message says, but I'm going to take these nuggets here and I'm going to make this work because what he's saying here and there works. But I'm going to tell you this, and I want you to understand this. One of the reasons why Black people cannot make strides in their fight for freedom and liberation is not because Black people are dumb or Black people can't organize. I'm so sick of hearing individuals like Umar Johnson and all these other individuals who come on and repeatedly state the problem over and over again. We know what the problem is. We know what the problem is. We don't need somebody come along and restating it and breaking it down, the paralysis of analysis. I think Dr. John Clark had spoke about that. The problem is that when we try to make strides, outside intervention from white supremacists, from the global elite, come in. To thwart our efforts at freedom and liberation. When we were campaigning for rights and to stop police brutality, they created Black Lives Matter as controlled opposition to fool us. When we were thinking radical and saying maybe we need to arm ourselves and fight back, they supported Farrakhan to pacify us for all these years. Now, I don't hate Farrakhan. I'm not saying that, hey, you shouldn't listen to him or follow him. I'm not saying that. You would have to go to an oracle reading and find out what you should do as far as he's concerned. But what I'm telling you is that we are very smart and we are trying to get ourselves out of a terrible, terrible situation of extinction. But every time we make a bit of progress, the ruling elite behind the curtains concoct another scheme, concoct another organization, come up with some way of sabotaging and destroying our efforts. And giving us the illusion of change through symbolism. Barack Obama was a great distraction and did nothing for the masses of Black people. And the ruling elite concocted him. And now, years later, we're realizing that we were fooled, we were tricked. We're going to have to get to a point of where no matter what criticisms come our way, our default setting is to band together and work together. You see how they operate. You know how they operate, especially when they were dealing with Black women. To get Black women to oppose Black men, to hate Black men, they had to come up with the feminist movement. And the feminist movement, by right, should have been a great movement for Black women to hold white men accountable for the crimes of slavery, the crimes of the birthing farms, forcing them to have mulatto babies, not giving them their due wealth for having babies by slave masters, and they should have been given the plantation. But instead of this being the feminist movement, it means to hold white men accountable for the crimes they committed, they somehow put in place trickology to make Black women feel as though their oppressors of the patriarchy were Black men. I'm trying to still understand where you don't have a patriarchy in a Black community, you have a matriarchy, yet you as a Black feminist say you're against the patriarchy. Well, you must be talking about the white male structure then. So why don't you oppose that instead of supporting it? Kevin Samuels is not talking any extreme things in terms of what Black women need to do to get themselves together. He is not speaking in terms of white supremacy. But what's coming out of the sector of the Black feminist movement is talking points that come directly out of the Ku Klux Klan's book. When you talk about murdering Black babies, Black male babies, when you talk about all men are no good, that's some serious, serious hatred. And these women have been allowed to get away with it because they have been supported by the white supremacist structure. And when you have Kevin Samuels comes along and tries to equal the playing field, and he tries to get them to stop that stuff, stop bashing your men publicly, go to the gym, eat healthy, stop idolizing white women. When he says these things and you feel some type of way, then you need to examine yourself and look at yourself. You should be loving your man. You should be loving yourself. That you want to keep yourself healthy, fit, and trim. And that when your man comes along, you smile, you say hi. You see, when I see another brother, we acknowledge each other, whether it be like, what's up, or just a nod, because we understand that we are all part of a same plight. We are all fighting to survive. But when you look at your woman and she gives you a negative look or side eye, that's an issue. And then you want to criticize Kevin Samuels for bringing that up. There's no criticism there. He's on point. And if you don't like what he's saying, don't listen. Then move on and find your sector. Find your niche. This is why the oracles is so important, because you are not the measure of truth. You have no objectivity. That's a lie. That's a lie. I'm a follower of his program. That is a lie. He's not spewing hatred of black women in public. That is an absolute lie. If he was doing that, no black women would be calling into his program, and they're calling into his program asking for his advice. He is not spewing any hatred. You're lying. So, my beloved, we either get our act together and stop the jealousy, stop the envy, stop the hatred, or we perish as a people. You decide. But as I was saying, the measure of truth is the oracle. If you feel some type of way, go to God, go to the oracle, and ask the oracle. Is Kevin Samuels' message on point? Am I overly emotional? Is Qesankh really very pretty in person? Yes, you can ask that question. I'm sorry, I digress. Patience, love for all our people should be paramount. It's not bullying to tell somebody they're big as a planet, because obesity is a problem in the black community, and it should have been top priority with the National Health Association, but they won't do that. They won't discuss obesity among black women because they don't want black women to survive. They don't want them to be healthy. In the same way that the modern psychologists should have band together and said point blank, white people have a problem, a psychological dysfunction called racism, but they won't do that because that means that you have to hold the masses of white people accountable. So if you are obese and he's telling you you're obese and he's telling you to go to the gym to get fit and trim, there's nothing wrong with that. You just don't want to hear the truth. You just don't want to be able to change. And bullying is what has been happening the past 50 years, when black men have been saying that they are feeling some type of hatred from their own women that is stemming from white supremacy, and that the voices of black men have been squashed. And instead of black women listening taking heed and saying, let me get my act together so I look pretty for my man, so I smile for my man, so I'm agreeable for my man. Instead of them doing that, they start to bully them and say, no, you're spewing hatred and anger. White women have been put on the pedestal as the epitome of beauty. If white women suddenly had an obesity problem, if 80% of them were overweight and obese, do you not think that white men would band together and white women to state that there's a national health emergency and that something needs to be done? But you have not seen that in the Black community because they don't want that to happen. In the same way as you have not seen reparations for Black people because they don't want you to be economically empowered. So they're not going to give you reparations. And you have gone too long without any guidance and truth that you think someone's spewing hatred and bullying because they're stating a fact. If your body mass index is above 30%, you are obese. And I'm not going to tell it to you in a very sweet way because you shouldn't have got there in the first place. And it's an epidemic within our communities. In the same way, it's an epidemic that we're going to Christian churches to hear spirituality and religion from our oppressors. You've got to be insane to do that. But yet, if I tell you you're nuts for listening to our oppressors who've used a religion to oppress us and you're following it, am I bullying you? No, I'm not. So miss me with that. Trying to make excuses. Excuses. If my son is failing in math, I can make every excuse in the world why he's failing in math. But the bottom line is I've got to tutor him. I've got to work with him. I can say, well, yeah, it's the teacher, it's the white teacher, or it's the system. Well, yeah, okay, great, but fix the problem. No, you're bullying me by stating the fact that he's failing in math. All right. How are you equating saying someone is fat with teasing? Those are two different things, as well as bullying. If I say you're fat, I'm not teasing you. I'm saying I'm saying something obvious. If I say you're obese, I'm saying something obvious. But the problem is, you don't want to hear the truth. You want to be called queen, goddess, queen, goddess. That's the problem. You want to gloss over the problem. You want feel good language. Hey, what's up, my queen? Even though you're unhealthy and you're obese. So my child is failing in math, and instead of me addressing the fact that he's failing in math, I call him king. Okay, king, don't worry about it, king. It's not teasing. Do you even know the definition of teasing? You don't know the definition of teasing, do you? Do you even know the definition? Look up the definition of teasing. You didn't know. You don't know what it is. It's a repetitive pattern. That's teasing. Stating an obvious fact is not teasing, nor is it bullying. When you go to a therapist or a consultant like Kevin, or any consultant, a therapist, and a therapist tells you that you have jealousy issues, you're jealous, is the therapist teasing you? If a therapist tells you that you have paranoid delusions, is that teasing you? It is not. It's stating a fact. It's trying to help you. But you're so used to the white supremacist talking points and what George Orwell called newspeak to cover up the problem that you don't want to hear the truth. You don't want to get to the root of the problem, and you don't want to solve it. So you're an enemy to black women because you don't want to hold them accountable for what they have done to themselves. When I was in martial arts and I was going for my black belt, and my teacher said, "You're not going to get your black belt because your roundhouse kick sucks." I'm being bullied. I'm being teased. You're making a comparison because there has never been a time where Kevin Samuels has called someone an idiot. Have he? You're making a false comparison. That's flawed logic. He's an image consultant. That makes him qualified to let you know that you're fat. Okay? He's an image consultant. He never said he was a therapist. Do you even know what a therapist does versus an image consultant? No, you don't. Again, you keep. And that's exactly what it is. When you are a 5, and I don't like to go by numbers, and you coming off as, I'm a diva, I'm a 10, you're delusional in your thinking. You're delusional. Some of you black women do not want to hear the truth. When you are producing babies by different daddies, baby daddies, that's an issue. When there is no father in the household, that's an issue. And these are the very issues that Kevin Samuel brings up. He's saying, value your womb. Don't open your legs for every man. Don't have a baby out of wedlock. And you think it's bullying? This is the problem. We have made dysfunctionalism the norm within the black community. You celebrate the man coming out of jail, but the guy who graduates from college gets no praise. When Elijah Muhammad started out, he started talking about the black man is the original man and all of this rhetoric. I understood what he was trying to do because black people were beat down by white supremacist groups and make them feel that their hair was kinky and not as good as white people's hair. So when Elijah Muhammad came and made people feel good, I understood what he was trying to do. In the same way, is I understand what Kevin's trying to do is help our people. But you don't seem to have critical analysis. You don't seem to be able to critically think. You tend to say things that are emotionally based. He spews hatred on black women, lynching them in public for the world to see. You mean he's lynching these black women, the same black women that are calling into his show, who repeatedly call into his show for advice on how to get a high value man, which in my opinion is gold digging. So you're saying that these gold digging women that call in to find out how to get a high value man, and Kevin is saying you're not going to get a high value man weighing 300 pounds and being 5'6". Think about what you're saying. You don't have the ability to think critically. I'm sorry. No, you're absolutely right. His advice is right on point. That's why they're calling into his show. That's why he's popular. Because he has touched a nerve. He is finally addressing issues that should have been addressed a long time ago. But the white supremacists who want to destroy black women, who want to destroy white men, has kept these issues from the forefront and not allowed us to address these things. And now you've come along and you say, well, he's making black women feel bad publicly. Well, if you've got 3 or 4 babies by different daddies, you should feel bad. If you weigh 300 pounds, you should feel bad. If you are argumentative, not agreeable and submissive to your husband, you should feel bad. If every relationship you've had, you've called the police on black men and you've been violent, you should feel bad. These women are telling their life stories, and in the process, we're discovering things. And he's telling them how to fix it. But you don't criticize Ivana Van Zant, do you? You don't criticize her. Because those of you who are so opposed to Kevin are part of the problem in the black community. You're part of the problem. And you're not working for the betterment of our people. Now, I'm not putting Kevin Samuels on a pedestal and calling him a saint. As I said, I don't agree with everything he talks about. I think the whole notion about women trying to go for a high value man, especially in the black community, is equivalent to gold digging. And these women who are calling up are gold diggers. And I don't really think they're going to change based on the advice he gives them. If they would change, I think that's great, but I don't think they're going to change. I think they're too stubborn, too egotistical, too self-centered to change. Tony, that's absolutely 100% correct. That is absolutely what we have normalized dysfunctionalism, and especially with white supremacy in the black community, we have told black women that they're beyond criticism. Shahrazad Ali came and said that. She says black women are the only women on the face of the earth who have been not allowed to be criticized. Hence, they've been getting away with things. And when someone comes along as trying to save people, trying to help them, You want to lynch them. All because you want to go as part of the status quo and keep going around walking, calling a black woman is God. She's a queen. She's a queen. That's not helping her weight problem. That's not helping her high blood pressure. That's not helping her stress issues. That's not helping the fact that the standard of beauty is white women, which we need to change that. That's not celebrating the fact that the first woman on the planet was a black woman. And that white men need to and white women need to respect that. But if all you want to do is call them queens and goddesses, and you're not doing anything, but you're actually out to destroy the community by glossing over the problem, not addressing it. Be the change. You really lack critical skills. You don't know how to think. You need to start looking at the logic that you're posing. What if false advice is to be giving them if he's telling them to lose weight for their health concerns? That's not false advice, but you say that. That's a straw man argument. You're saying that. Well, unfortunately, white supremacy is at the heart of a lot of things that we are doing and that have been done to us. It is at the heart of it. And if you listen to what I said before, every time we try to get our act together, they concoct some type of new scheme and new plan to thwart our efforts at progress. So therefore, they are responsible and culpable for what they have been doing. So we can blame them. But no one is generalizing. I don't blame white supremacy for a black woman who has 4 babies by different baby daddies. I don't blame white supremacy for that. I don't blame white supremacy for the high abortion rate among black women. I do blame the white supremacy ideology or psychology that has infected their mindset to where they don't value their womb and the babies. So I want to thank you all for tuning in today. It's been a great discussion, one of my more heated and debated discussions. And Karma, thank you for presenting your opposing viewpoints. I appreciate your input, as well as Be the Change. Thank you for your input. Even though we might not agree on some things, I do thank you for taking the opportunity to come here and letting your voice be heard. That's always welcome. I don't want to censor anyone for their opinions. That's not how we have a good discussion. That's not how we make change. So this is Qesankh Ma Keperu, son of Ma'at and Tahuti. My aunt is the beautiful goddess Heteru. Until the next video, Amun Ra.